From New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And boy, do we have a lot to get to this hour. Number one, President Trump threatens a possible federal takeover of New York City if, in his words, communist Zohan Mandami wins the race for mayor. 800-848-9222. Dominic Carter here with you on this summer day. That's one of the stories that we're following, as for the first time in this election cycle, the president has just mentioned the name of Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa, and he offered tremendous praise of the owner of this radio station, Mr. John Catsimatidis. When asked if Mr. Sliwa should get out of the race, the president said, "I'm not getting involved." Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, who is nominating President Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize, is responding to Mandami's threat of, if he became mayor, that he would arrest Netanyahu if he came to New York. This is ridiculous. And Netanyahu at a dinner last night with the president laughed at the comment. And also, the reverend boyfriend of that racist, that African-American woman in Houston, Texas, that made that vile comment about Camp Mystic in Texas, all those victims, children and their counselors, in which she said that it's only a camp exclusively for white girls. Well, her boyfriend, who happens to be white and a reverend, is disavowing her comments. You will hear the disgusting things she said coming up. And so I'm going to get to what the president just said about the race for mayor, about Mandami, about Mr. Catsimatidis in just a second. But, I received some interesting tweets, and one of them was from John Palladino. And John said to me, "Dominic, I listen to you every day at 3 p.m. It was impossible to get through, and we got to figure out a way to work on that. Impossible to get through on the telephone, and hope you will respond to this message. You were once a Democrat yourself, correct?" And the answer is yes, I was. And he said, "You changed." And he said, "How bad does New York have to get before they see the light as well?" So I sent John 2 responses this morning, and you can, these days, the best way to reach me, the fastest way, is via Twitter, at Dominic TV. I can't respond to every tweet. There's just too many. But there are some that when it catches my attention, I will respond. So this is what I said to John. "John, it's sad but true. Voters in Democratic cities pull the lever for Democrats like brushing their teeth daily. I'd love to see New York shake it up and elect Curtis Sliwa. That's how I really feel. It'll take a miracle for blue cities to vote differently, like New York in the 70s. And so then I sent him a second tweet, and I said, "John, tragically, how bad would it have to get for New York City to stop voting blue?" And then I went on to state this: the city should give Curtis Sliwa a shot. And then I gave him a list of how bad it would have to get for Democrats in urban America: Chicago, New York, Boston, Denver, on and on and on. How bad would it have to get to give a Republican a real shot? And in this case, to give Mr. Sliwa a shot, I went on to say no money for street lights at night, trash piling up, police cuts, crime like in the 70s, blackouts, business fleeing that bad. And so when you look at the status of the city, why not give Mr. Sliwa a shot? But anyway, let's begin. We see all your calls. We see all the calls. Let's begin with the president at the White House praising the owner of this station, John Catsimatidis, denouncing Mandami as a communist, and for the first time this election cycle, mentioning Curtis Sliwa.
Number one, you have a communist running, and you shouldn't vote for him. He's a disaster. He's leading. He's got the Democrat nomination because that shows you where the Democrats have gone. He actually wants to take over the grocery stores of John Catsimatidis, who's a great guy, a rich guy, grocer, does a good job, wants to take over. He actually called me the other day. He's concerned his stores are going to be taken from him, and they won't be run like John runs them. Believe me, he runs a good operation. But he actually said he wants to run his own grocery stores. No, this is a man who's not very capable, in my opinion, other than he's got a good line of bullshit. and he's convinced them to go with him.
So the part we left out, the part, guys, maybe we can recut it where he mentions Curtis Sliwa. It's very important that we get that on air so that the public has the chance to hear what the president said, particularly as it relates to Mr. Sliwa. So we're working on that right now, and we'll have it for you in the minutes ahead. And also coming up at the bottom of the hour, as he does each week, Congressman Peter King, the former congressman, will join me live to give us his 2 cents on all things political. One more time, and we're updating the soundbite as we speak. Folks, this happens in live radio, to include the part where the president specifically talks about Mr. Sliwa. It's extremely important that we get that on the air this hour, guys. But anyway, this is what the president had to say as it relates to Mandami and praising the owner of this station. Again, I want you to hear this again, John Catsimatidis.
Number one, you have a communist running, and you shouldn't vote for him. He's a disaster. He's leading. He's got the Democrat nomination because that shows you where the Democrats have gone. He actually wants to take over the grocery stores of John Catsimatidis, who's a great guy, a rich guy, grocer, does a good job, wants to take over. He actually called me the other day. He's concerned his stores are going to be taken from him, and they won't be run like John runs them. Believe me, he runs a good operation. But he actually said he wants to run his own grocery stores. No, this is a man who's not very capable, in my opinion, other than he's got a good line of bullshit, and he's convinced them to go with him.
Okay, we're pulling right now the soundbite, folks. It shouldn't have been that way. It should have been the full soundbite where the president talks about the Democrats and then is asked about Mr. Sliwa. And so you'll hear what President Trump says, and I do apologize for that. It should have been that way at the top of the program. So we'll have that for you coming up in just minutes. So please stay tuned on that. And folks, I'm looking at the phone calls. To the people that call every day, give it a break. Let somebody else get through. If you call every day, I'm not going to take your call. All you're doing is blocking a line for someone that should be able to get through. That's a first-time caller. We have a rule on this program. If you're on today, you're not going to be on tomorrow. Trust me when I tell you. We want to hear from first-time callers. It's not fair. All you're doing is blocking up a line when I'm not going to go to your call if you were just on the air yesterday or last night, the midnight show that we do. Okay, so let's deal to this is why people like Jasmine Crockett we're going to get to the mayor's race in just a second, why people like Jasmine Crockett are so dangerous. The black woman in Texas. These kids, they haven't even had their funeral yet. Their parents are devastated. Some of the bodies haven't been found. And this black woman that used to be on a city panel came out and made these disgusting comments. Folks, this has to stop. This is not America. How could you have so much hate in your heart? Her name is Sade Perkins, and I want you to listen to the vile comment she made about the children that have drowned, that are dead in Texas.
I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this, but Camp Mystic is a whites-only girls' Christian camp. They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It is a all-white, white-only conservative Christian camp. If you ain't white, you ain't right, you ain't getting in, you ain't going, period. And I think that context needs to be said in this matter.
Unbelievable. So you're talking about a camp that has only white girls, and if you're black or Latino, you can't go to the camp, which would be against federal law. And your boyfriend, young lady, happens to be white. So that makes you a hypocrite. Makes you an absolute hypocrite. People should fall in love and can and should fall in love with whoever they want to. But don't stand up here being the female Farrakhan and your boyfriend is white, who happens to be a minister, a reverend, and your boyfriend is now even denouncing your horrible comments. These are babies that died in Texas. and the counselors trying to save their lives, and all you could think about is spreading your poison, spreading your hate. You'll hear later how she bragged. She used to do something apparently at Princeton University, and she's bragging, saying that you folks, and she claims this is white privilege, that you're contacting Princeton and the city of Houston. Well, I don't serve on that panel anymore, and I've already spent the money from Princeton, so you're wasting your time. I want to play that one more time, Carlos, because, my mouth is wide open. Babies that have drowned, swept away. And this is what you have to say about the camp that they attended. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Who raised you? How could you have so much poison in your heart?
I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this, but Camp Mystic is a whites-only girls Christian camp. They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It is a all white-only conservative Christian camp. If you ain't white, you ain't right, you ain't getting in, you ain't going, period. And I think that context needs to be said in this matter.
If you ain't white, you ain't right. I want to bang my head on this table. I cannot believe there's so much hate. Oh, racism against blacks. Well, she's black. What do you call what she just said? Is that racism? Oh, no, she gets a free pass. No, you don't get a free pass for that hatred. You're disgusting. Absolutely. How could somebody, a grown woman, who one day could be a mother herself, and you're going to say something like that? Anyway, I want to get back to, because this is important, this is the first time that President Trump has mentioned Curtis Sliwa as a candidate for mayor. The comment is, but I want you to hear what the President of the United States had to say as it relates to the race, and in particular to Mr. Sliwa.
Number one, you have a communist running, and you shouldn't vote for him. He's a disaster. He's leading. He's got the Democrat nomination because that shows you where the Democrats have gone. He actually wants to take over the grocery stores of John Catsimatidis, who's a great guy, a rich guy, grocer, does a good job, wants to take over. He actually called me the other day. He's concerned his stores are going to be taken from him, and they won't be run like John runs them. Believe me, he runs a good operation. But he actually said he wants to run his own grocery stores. No, this is a man who's not very capable, in my opinion, other than he's got a good line of bullshit, and he's convinced them to go with him. Now, as you know, Cuomo, who does have capability, is running, but he got knocked out, and now they're running as you have Eric Adams, the current mayor, you have Cuomo, and you have Curtis Sliwa. And Curtis runs every 4 years. He seems to be a fixture on the running scale. But it's. I'm not getting involved. But I can tell you this. I used to say we will not ever be a socialist country, right? Well, I'll say it again. We're not going to have... If a communist gets elected to run New York, it can never be the same, but we have tremendous power at the White House to run places when we have to.
So the president, I'm late for a break. And when we come back, I want to reference the breaks. I saw your comments on Twitter. The president referencing Mr. Sliwa for the first time, stating that he runs every 4 years. That type of comment is not helpful. But, the city is in the position it's in. Why not give Sliwa a shot? But we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. Time for a break. We are coming right back.
It's Dominic Carter.
I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this, but Camp Mystic is a whites-only girls Christian camp. They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It is a all white-only conservative Christian camp. If you ain't white, you ain't right, you ain't getting in, you ain't going, period. And I think that context needs to be said in this matter.
Her name, Sade Perkins, was on a a commission by the mayor in Houston, Texas. She's been relieved of duties, and she's a piece of work. Let's go to your telephone calls. Let me say this first. I'm going to go to 1 second. Joe in Mount Sinai, line 4. A number of you on Twitter said yesterday you expressed your frustration that I have to cut you off. Folks, here's the deal. With the success of the program, 3 p.m. and at midnight, I have no control. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. You know who taught me the game about about commercials and radio? Curtis Lewa. Because I said to him once, years ago, Curtis, come on, man, too many commercials. He said, Dominic, what are you talking about? If there are no commercials, you and I don't eat. It's that simple. We don't have a job. And so it's automated, folks, with stations around the country. I have two choices. When we're timed up until the second. If I'm talking over that clock, I will be cut off and it goes to commercials in different cities. So I have a choice. Either interrupt you so that you're not cut off midstream, or let it go, and then you will be cut off. Believe me, by the system. If I'm still talking over the commercial break, my mic is cut off automatically. I don't get to control the time of commercials. Let's go to your telephone calls. Joe, line 4, Mount Sinai. What's on your mind, Joe?
Good afternoon, Dominic. And also, Curtis won for our Kumpati chief.
Okay, Joe, you got, please, let's focus on, please. We have too many calls, too short time. Get to your point, please.
This woman that made those remarks about Camp Mystic, I don't remember, and I can't even imagine somebody would say something about when Michelle Obama said, save our girls, return our girls, whatever, the girls that got kidnapped in those African countries.
Kenya, I believe.
What kind of lowlife? What kind of lowlife?
I agree with you.
Like
I agree with you, Joe. I agree with you wholeheartedly. What type of lowlife? What type of disgusting? She needs to crawl back under that rock. And you're a phony. You're talking about all white, but your man is white. Deal with that, lady. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Who's the reverend? You are a phony. We're coming right back live with Congressman Peter King.
It's Dominic Carter.
And joining us live right now is former Congressman Peter King. Congressman, it's so nice to chat with you. I hope you're well. I hope your wife's well. I hope your family is well.
Actually, all of us are doing well. Thank you very much. This evening, I'll be leaving soon, going to President Clinton and I will be the two speakers at the commemoration or celebration of life service for Carolyn McCarthy. So I've been working on that in my remarks this evening. She's a great woman to work with, and I've really been honored to be asked to be one of the two speakers.
The former Congresswoman.
Yes, Carolyn McCarthy. She died, I guess, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I had spoken to her just about 10 days before she died. If anyone was prepared for what was next, it was Carolyn. She basically died the way she lived, very calm, very peaceful, very matter of fact, and at the same time very determined. So anyway, she made the most of tragedy in her life to really achieve a lot of good, get involved with public service.
She sure did. She sure did. So hey, anyway, Congressman, so you're going to be one of the key speakers, you and former President Bill Clinton. So in the course of covering...
I'm a distant second to him, believe me.
In the course of covering you over the years, in the course of covering him, and, one of the things that stands out in my career is that I'm part of presidential papers from when Clinton, I don't know why he liked me. He would always give me an interview, even under threat of arrest from the Secret Service out on the street, and he would stop, and I was letting it all ride because the agents had already told me I'm in deep trouble the moment the president walks away. And Clinton would say, oh, leave him alone, and do a live 5-minute television interview. But is his health okay? The last couple of times I've seen him, it seems like he's slowing down a bit.
Well, he has at a certain age. I mean, he's still a couple of years younger than me, so don't make me feel too self-conscious here. No, I mean, I will see tonight. I mean, from what I understand, certainly his mind is functioning perfectly, and he's getting around. So let me check. But I mean,
okay.
I know he takes care of himself. I know that. He had years of eating Burger King and McDonald's and everything, and then he became a vegan. So part of what you see is like he has gotten thinner and all. That's because he's on that strict vegan diet, which I don't fully understand, but he's on it anyway.
Yeah, good luck with that. Hey, Congressman, and you haven't lost a step at all. You put us all to shame. But I want you to explain this to me. Explain this for me before I get to the mayor's race. I don't know what's going on in our country. You have the hatred, and racism is not just a one-way street. You have that black woman in Houston, Texas, saying there's a white-only camp and for the kids, all those kids died. Elected officials in New York City, Brad Lander, a far, far, far left, the city controller, who's literally kissing Mandami's you-know-what. He's been kissing his you-know-what for the last 2 months, literally begging for a deputy mayor's job. And it's so sad to watch him kiss his rear side, but his backside. But Brad Lander, Jamani Williams, we know the public advocate, they're urging migrants to skip court hearings, to dodge ICE, calling them an abduction trap. This while we see attacks on ICE agents across the country are up substantially. What's going on politically in our country? Because there are things that I just don't understand, Congressman King.
Well, in several things. One is the reality. When people say inflammatory things like this, disgraceful, indefensible things like this, it's bad enough they say it, but it has consequences. It emboldens people. First of all, it impacts upon emotionally disturbed people who feel they can act out. It emboldens others who are rabble-rousers and feel they can get an audience by going around. And so you see these ICE officers being shot at down in Texas. You see violence against cops, violence against firefighters. Now, these actions have consequences, and it's bad enough that the average person does that. If you're an elected official, you take an oath to your government to support the government, to certainly follow the laws of the government. And if there is going to be any kind of disobedience to the law, it's done like Martin Luther King did, a very civil, peaceful disobedience to make a point. But be actually saying don't engage with law enforcement, to resist them, to fight back, that is just a recipe for disaster, for violence. And in the end, what happens, those who get hurt the most are people in those communities where the violence originates from. So the people who are supposed to help end up getting hurt the most. It hurts the country as a whole, society as a whole, and those people are an absolute disgrace who encourage people to violate the law and show disrespect for the law themselves when they are holding public office and have a special obligation to honor, respect, and uphold the law.
So, Congressman King, in this situation with the Brad Lander and Jamani Williams telling migrants to skip their court dates, that means that a judge is going to probably issue a warrant where, they're supposed to leave the country, but it means in the short term that you're going to stay longer. Why in America, why would an elected official advise people on how to skirt the law and remain in America longer, oftentimes at the expense of taxpayers in one form or another? Why would an elected official do something like that?
The only reason for it, and it's not an excuse, the only reason for it is it's a cheap, easy way they feel to get some quick political support. In the end, it's going to hurt everybody, including them, but they just see that enticement of getting a name out there, having a certain crowd cheer and yell for them, being a hero in certain quarters for a while. It's disgraceful. I mean, that's the type of thing that's really brought down governments in other countries, not just the government that you may oppose, but bringing down the way of life all around you. So this is shameful, and above all, if you're in public life, you should realize you have a special obligation.
The live conversation right now with former New York Congressman Peter King. What's also disgraceful and despicable and everything else you can add in that. I mean, are we going to blame President Trump for every single thing, Congressman? The situation in Texas, Schumer, Democrats laying it at the doorstep of President Trump, like somehow what happened, the flooding in Texas, is his fault. What's your take on this?
Yeah, first of all, it's totally untrue. Rich Lowry in today's New York Post does a terrific job of dissecting that whole argument and showing how totally illogical and wrong and baseless it is. But to be doing that, if you want to do several months from now, do an after-action report and say, this could have been done better, this could have been done better, this did work, this didn't, that's what should happen all the time. There's no way that President Trump can be blamed for any of this, and there's probably no one should be blamed, but you always do it called after-action reports to see what could possibly be done better in the future. I remember when I used to see Commissioner Ray Kelly, the NYPD, would carry out, I thought, a flawless operation. But 2 or 3 days later, he was in his office having people come in, showing, could they possibly have done this better? Could they possibly improve that? That's the way you do it in a positive way. You don't jump to make cheap political gain out of the deaths of young girls. I mean, this is absolutely goes beyond anything, and it shows how desperate they are, the opposition, the Trump derangement syndrome people are, to get President Trump. But as we saw in the last election, the people have had enough of this. I did think it worked the first few years of the Trump administration, all these attacks on him. It seemed to wear down his popularity. But now, I mean, ever since he came back and ever since the last election, people saw how essentially gang up on President Clinton, whether it was the legal system, whether it was the media, whether it was the political opposition. They just would not just give him a fair shake. They went out of their way to smear him, to libel him, to slander him, and to bring down his reputation. So right now, I think he's, as far as criticism, he's almost invulnerable because people are just writing it off. I mean, who would have thought? I mean, what can go through someone's mind when a disaster like this happens, and you feel, how can you blame someone who's innocent for bringing this about? My God, that's what some people did after 9/11 toward President Bush. We can go through so many instances. The fact is, this in particular, though, was a natural disaster. There have been floods over the years in Texas of this dimension before, but there hadn't been one serious in a while. And again, what President Trump or FEMA could have done is just it's too ridiculous to even ask about. The fact is that they've done what had to be done. They will continue to do. They're on the ground now. They're doing all the work that's essential afterwards. And just in the name of God and basic decency, one of these people would shut up.
Amen. Shut up. So, Congressman Peter King, the race for New York City mayor, let's talk about that for a second, if you don't mind. So, your friend who you're often on with on the Katz and Cosby program, your friend David Patterson, the former governor, holds a news conference with the owner-operator of this station, John Catsimatidis, urging Democrats to unite behind one candidate. Good luck with that. Cuomo says to Adams, you get out. Adams says, no, you get out. Sliwa says, I'm in this to win, to stay. How do you see the race for mayor right now?
Well, right now, unless they do unite, I mean, Dominic is going to win. I mean, he has the line of the Democratic Party, and it's almost impossible for Republican to win. I think, as you pointed out before, the only reason Giuliani and Bloomberg did, they were running as fusion candidates. That's not available this time around. And a Republican basically is going to top off at 28, 29, 30%.
Agreed.
That's under the best of circumstances. I think Andrew Cuomo has had his shot. I mean, he was out in front by 30, 40 points. And once you're a winner in politics and then you lose so dramatically, and people have seen enough, it's obvious that his time, it's curtain time for Andrew. I mean, I think he's had a fairly good career for himself, but I think that's behind him now. And if he couldn't win in a primary where he had $30 million, whatever it was, we had 100% name recognition, where he was miles ahead, and nothing particularly new come out against him. It wasn't like something broke the last minute to knock him out of the race. It was just a steady decline to an opponent who was running rings around him, and Andrew just seemed unable to cope. He was just caught like flat-footed. It was so I think he's had his chance. Now it comes down to Curtis and Eric Adams. Listen, Curtis is a good friend. I think he's a good friend. I don't know what he thinks of me sometimes, but we get along. I used to, we went to the same high school. I graduated. He didn't, but that's another story. No, Curtis. Listen, this guy has literally put his life on the line, shed blood for the people of New York. He's out there, but I just don't see him getting enough votes to win the election. I don't say that with any glee or anything else. I just don't see it happening. I think that Eric Adams is the one person who does have a chance. His record, his first several years in office was not that good. We're very honest about it. But now it's really come around over the last year. I mean, crime under I always get the Jessica Tisch. I don't know if you have to say Tisch James. Jessica Tisch has been, again, exceptional.
She has as police commissioner. She has.
And I think Keyshawn Sewell would have done the same if her hands weren't tied, if they weren't constantly obstructing her. But the obstructors are out of the way now, and Jessica Tisch is doing the job. Eric Adams is letting her do it, encouraging her to do it. He's worked with the federal government when it's important to do, like with ICE. So, and I think murders are going down to their lowest rate in decades. So that is something that the city still isn't as safe as it should be, but real progress is being made. And so, even though again his record was certainly far from perfect in the beginning, he's come around, and I think that he is the best chance. Also, with the African American vote, I'm not trying to make this identity politics, but the realities in New York of different ethnic groups, I think that he can appeal to them. He also can cut into the ethnic groups in the neighborhoods and the communities. I can see what Mandami has said about Italians and Christopher Columbus, what he's saying about Jews and the Intifada. I think that Eric Adams is the only one who can possibly put together a coalition. I mean, no disrespect at all to Curtis when saying that. So I think Cuomo should definitely be out. It's up to Curtis and Eric Adams. And I would, again, of the two, think that Eric Adams has the best chance of winning. And that's the real issue now. How do you beat this guy, Mamdani? And I think that Eric Adams is the one guy who can do it. I'm not saying he will, but he's the only one who has a real chance to do it.
Congressman, I only have a minute left, Congressman Peter King. So we're talking about Mayor Adams, the incumbent here, and he's expected to announce his own mask ban with jail time for repeat offenders. So all of those protests and so on, where they have on the mask for repeat offenders, possibility of jail time. I don't have the full details as of yet, but it seems to be a step in the right direction. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. Again, he's definitely going in the right direction on this and on other law enforcement issues. And a person who was a cop for many years, he knows what has to be done, and he's untied the hands of the commissioner and of the police, and he's also been willing to cooperate with the federal government, and he's not going to be standing and resisting ICE, resisting the Justice Department. He will do what has to be done. And again, as far as putting together a coalition, I think he's the one person that can do it. And I mean, no disrespect to Curtis in saying that. As far as Andrew, again, he and I always got along, but I just think that his time has come and gone, and it's time to exit the stage.
That's right. And Congressman Peter King, thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Cuomo's time has come and gone. It's time to exit stage left. No matter what he says, game over. Sorry. Congressman Peter King, always nice to chat with you. I look forward to doing so again soon. I always appreciate where you're coming from, and you help me understand the body politic.
I love always the opportunity to talk with you, because you are one of those like New York legends and icons. So my privilege, believe me.
Thank you, Congressman King. Regards to your family. Time for a break, folks. We're coming right back with your telephone calls.
It's Dominic Carter.
It's time for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Final Thoughts.
And the Tunnel to Towers Foundation final thought of the day, another victory for President Trump. This just coming in from the Supreme Court. SCOTUS is blocking an order stopping the Trump federal layoffs. Remember when he first came in, the president, and he got rid of that fat? Oh, I'm not allowed to mention that at home. When I say, listen, let me backtrack. I don't want to see anybody lose their job, but the government is bloated. We have 4 people that can do one person's job. So Trump laid off a bunch of folks. He was blocked in federal court. The Supreme Court has now given him the complete green light to go ahead and continue with his layoffs. I'm looking at my Twitter and my X right now. Jersey Shore girl, Lori. Lori says, playing catch up as I receive my second blood transfusion. Thank goodness, for my favorite guy, Dominic Carter. Oh, that's nice of you, Lori. Friends and family who keep me motivated, I love you all, and keep the prayers coming. They are coming your way, Jersey Shore girl. We believe in you. You're going to hang in there with this cancer thing. Hang in there, and you know Debbie Lebedo, Staten Island, is your girl. She's got your back. Let's go to your telephone calls. Let's go to line 3. Dennis in Oceanside. Dennis, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I called you 4 months ago. You told me Eric Adams had no chance. Now that Cuomo's going to drop out in the near future soon, he's going to win. We're not going to lose to a 33-year-old kid from Uganda. No way, know how. I'm telling you, he's going to win again. You said it was impossible. He's going to win, and you're going to owe me.
Okay, wait, Dennis. First of all, when I said that, it was under the belief that Adams was going to run as a Democrat. He sidestepped that process, knowing that he was going to lose, and is running as an independent. We don't know what's going to happen. You have Cuomo, you have Sliwa, you have Mandami, and right now, I can't believe I'm saying this. Right now, Mandami is the 800-pound gorilla. Period. You can hate on him. I can hate on him. I can hate on him all I want. Right now, he's the 800-pound gorilla that's a heartbeat away from becoming the next mayor of New York City. You have the final word, Dennis. Go ahead quickly.
That 800-pound gorilla is going to fall and crash and burn right off the Brooklyn Bridge.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Let's go to line 5. Sean in Pearl River, New York. Sean, go right ahead, please.
Hi, Tom. Curtis has got to win. We have to donate to his campaign. Go Buchanan. Go Buchanan.
I hope you're proud of yourself. Did your mommy tell you were special growing up? Did she tell you, oh, you're special, you're going to grow up, and you're going to call radio stations, and you're going to act like you have to make a comment. You're going to say, go Buchanan, Buchanan, go Buchanan. You are so special. Ugh. Let's see here. Let's go to line 4, George in Rockland County. What's on your mind, George?
Hey, okay, well, people should be aware that Mamdani is not black. Mamdani is a Muslim with roots in India.
Okay, why is this relevant?
It is very relevant, okay, because the majority of black and Hispanics, are Christian, okay? They are not.
Okay, George, I'm short on time. I don't think there's anybody in New York that thinks Mandami is black. Thank you for the call. Let's go to line 3, Mike in Pennsylvania. What's on your mind, Mike?
Originally from Brooklyn, worked in Brooklyn, got a red beret as soon as I knew that Curtis was running. Anybody supports Curtis, put a red beret on. Stick it in their face, and they'll see how many people are with Curtis. Curtis is a born New Yorker. That's it.
Okay, thank you for the call, Mike. Let's go to Eduardo, Tampa, Florida, line 2. What's on your mind, sir?
Yeah, Dominic. Instead of sending military equipment to Ukraine, we need to be getting this alarm system up and running in Texas so people are warned about possible flooding in the future.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. I have a funny feeling that President Trump will come up with something because the man is a leader and he's going to find a way to deal with this problem. Not a bad suggestion. Thank you. Quickly, line 1, Frank in Staten Island. Frank, you got 20 seconds. Go ahead, please.
Okay, if Mandami becomes mayor and you're a Jewish person and you get attacked on the street, like sucker punched, don't expect Mandani to help you. He will not get the police to help you. You're going to be stuck as a Jewish person in the hospital.
Well, I find that ridiculous, and I don't think anybody as mayor would tolerate that. All it takes is $11 a month. Donate $11 a month to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation at T2T.org.